Hi there, Steve Kaufman here. Hey, I got my London School of Economics t-shirt on. I never went there, but my son did. Today I'm going to talk about self-control and language learning. I was out golfing today. The weather here in Vancouver is phenomenal. I don't know how hot it's going to be today. Maybe it was 28, 30 degrees centigrade. And we were playing with this other couple, and we were talking about things that we can control and things that we can't control. It's very difficult to control your swing in golf. However much you practice, it's very difficult. You never quite know what's gonna happen when you swing the ball or swing the club at the ball. And there's lots of things we can't control. We can't control the weather. We can't necessarily control what's going to happen, politically, economically, all these different things we can't control. We worry about, we follow in the news, we think of what we think are solutions or whatever it might be. We can't really control them. And it's always useful to focus on things that you can control because you'll be happier. If you focus on things you can't control, that are out of your control, you can be disappointed and there's nothing you can do about it. Language learning is something that you can control. And if we get back to the three sort of basic keys that I always refer to, your attitude towards the language, the time you spend on the language, and your ability to notice what's happening in the language. Those are things that are within your control. So, if you say, I don't like the language, study another language. Or get into it a bit and you'll start to like it. So many things that relate to our attitude towards the task of language learning or the language we're learning are things that are within our control. We have to try to become positive, to be confident, to persuade ourselves that it's worthwhile doing this thing. All of those kinds of, to like it. And all of those kinds of things that we can influence. And I have referred in the past to this book by a professor of psychology, I believe, called Jeffrey Schwartz, who spoke about the mind and the brain and how he was able to help people who had obsessive compulsive disorder. And rather than using drugs, he was able to persuade them that they could actually control the workings of their mind. And you can influence yourself to like the language, influence yourself to feel confident, to accept, whatever you have achieved and to feel good about it, rather than spending your time feeling unhappy about what you're not able to achieve. So you can control your attitude. I believe you can control your attitude towards the language. You can control the time you spend with the language. You have to prioritize, and you have other things you have to do, work, family, whatever. But if it's something that's important to you, you can find the time. So you can control the time you spend on the language. And when it comes to noticing the language, here again, if you are determined to notice, you're going to pay attention. You're going to pay attention to the pronunciation. You're going to pay attention to the structures. And if you pay attention and you notice the language here and there and somewhere else, eventually you're going to absorb it. So you can control it. Now, people are going to say, yes, but I have no talent for language, blah, blah, blah. These are the kinds of things that you shouldn't say to yourself. Because whatever your talent level is for learning languages, the better your attitude, the more positive you are, the better you like the language, the more confident you feel, the better you're going to do. Whatever your talent level is. And I have said before, I don't think talent is the big factor. Attitude is much more important than talent. So, if you have the determination that you want to succeed, that determination will ensure that you maintain a positive attitude, spend the necessary time, and focus on noticing what's happening in the language. And these are things that we can control. How wonderful. If you're a boater, you can't control the weather. If I'm a golfer, I can't control, and I try, I can't hit that straight, drive or whatever, iron shot when I want to. But language learning is something that we can actually control. We can control our attitude towards it, the time we spend on it, and our attentiveness to what's happening in the language. So I think that's an important point. And, you know, when I look at the world we live in today, I mean, how many millions or billions of dollars are spent on golf or boating or, you know, computer games or all of this kind of thing. Language learning is, you know, it should be, however much money is spent on it, it should be 10 times as much because it gives you so much. My wife and I are going to travel to France in September. We can both speak French. We'll have a wonderful time. A much nicer time than if we couldn't speak French. There's so many advantages that come from learning languages. And it's an activity where you can control the outcome. So learn languages. And with that,